The first thing that draws the eye is the robe of the bearded man standing in the center. Burne-Jones had a great skill in painting fabric, and we can see that with the man's robe. The inside of the man's robe is blue and green, but the outside, which can be seen draped from his shoulder and back, has a green and orange sheen. The masterfulness of being able to paint a sheen on fabric is a unique ability of the painter, but the daringness of pairing the aforementioned colors is unique to the painting. The star the angel holds in her hands and the box the man is holding are two things you think would capture the viewer's attention most, but these are secondary compared to the radiance of the man's robe. This attention is not inappropriate though, as the character is presenting his gift and thereby telling the story the scene depicts. Horizontal folds in the fabric were added, perhaps not as a novel detail, but to add a slight realism to not upstage the etherealness of the angel in the background. The two other wise men also display a wealth of artistic acumen in their robe work. The wise man in the foreground has decorative characters on the skirt of his robe, and the folds of those robes are also added as intricate details. The two young wise men are not only in contrast of the older wise man in their front, but also in contrast to each other. The wise man closest to us is black, while the man standing beside him is white. The latter carries a sword and wears a knight's helmet. Perhaps the character differences are more than superficial. The warrior is sage from his experience, the black man is sage from his travels, and the man in front is wise from his years. In much more plain and humble attire is Joseph on the other side of the painting. He's holding a bundle of twigs, and on the grass next to him is an axe. This implies that what he is holding is kindling for a fire. For both warmth and for cooking, the depiction of practicality is appropriate for the paternal Joseph. The Mother Mary is wearing a transparent veil on her head, which is the color white in the folds, the color of purity. Her dress is faded in the lap area, which frames the baby Jesus, who is naked except a slight halo atop his head. The angle of his head is opposite from the arch of his back, making him appropriately stand out in the painting. The angel levitating off the ground and holding the star in her hands has the same rich fabric of the wise men. Like her robe, her wings are in the predominant color of blue-green. The yellow-green color of the hilly meadow in the background frames the picture. This particular color is common only to the palette of Edward Burne-Jones. The meadow gives way to a forest in the deep background, and the climate depicted is reminiscent more of England than the desert of the Holy Land. This is a wonderful feature of Edward Burne-Jones. A great painter does not necessarily mean a great artist, and Edward Burne-Jones is a great artist. To paint the climate of his native England as opposed to a far-off land tells me that Burne-Jones felt the painting before he actually painted it. No level of skill can imitate that creative intuition. The English Prime Minister Stanley Baldwin gave a speech commemorating the centenary exhibit of Edward Burne-Jones. What he did for us common people was to open, as never had been opened before, magic casements of the land in which he lived throughout his life.